This slide is the answer key. Explanation follows on the next slide. A relation is a relationship mapping elements of one set, the domain, to elements of another set, the range. A special type of relation is a function. A relation is a function if and only if, for each input in the domain, there is exactly one output. This mapping diagram here shows input values in the domain mapped to output values in the range. The mapping diagram on the left is a function because each input on the left is drawn to only one output on the right. The mapping diagram on the right is not a function because the input of 0 is mapped to both -3 and +5. Because the input of 0 has more than one output, this is not a function. The table on the left is not a function because the input of -2 is mapped to both 0 and 5. The table on the right is a function because each input is mapped to exactly one output. In the list of ordered pairs, the top set of ordered pairs is not a function because the input of 1 has outputs of both 3 and 4. On the bottom, even though -5 appears multiple times as an output, each input is still mapped to only one output. 1's output is -5, 2's output is -5, 3's output is -5, and 4's output is -5. Each input has its own specific output, and no inputs have more than one output. Finally, we look at graphs. With graphs, we can test whether or not a relation is a function by drawing a vertical line. If the vertical line crosses the relation's graph more than once, then the relation is not a function. Hence, the graph on the right is not a function. How could you convince yourself? Pretend the blue line is x equals -1. So we could maybe have coordinate points at -1, +1, and -1, -1. Now you can clearly see that the input of -1 has two different outputs, making it not a function.